Live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited to have you here. And we are live looking at today, why is it that relationships fail? And if you are in here watching this, let me know where you're signing on from. Let me know, what do you think is the number one reason that relationships fail in your own words, in your own experience? Maybe you have experienced that. Why do you think that relationships go south, they go elsewhere? And what once was a whole lot of ideas and desires and excitement, and you were feeling the butterflies in the stomach, suddenly they started to change, and they went and converted into an angst and into maybe a little disgust. And what do you think? So let's look at that. I want to see what's happening. My name is Soraya Altana. If you don't know me, I am a life coach, results coach, life strategist, relationship coach, and I've been working with tons of people to transform their lives from where they are to where they want to be. It doesn't matter if you're on the basement or the penthouse. There's always another level that is available for us, that is available for you. And I'm inviting you to let me know where you are signing in from. And I want to see your comments. So I'm going to test this and say hello. Post your comments on why you think relationships fail. Okay, there it is. Let me know. I'd like to know, what is it that you think? What is it that you see? What's been your experience? And I did something, and I posted this as a poll, and I said, I'm going to take a poll. Why do you think that relationships fail? And I'm going to read some of the things that people were responding to. What are some of the things that they were saying? What is this? Some of the things that they were mentioning. So here we go. I'm going to mention some of those, and you let me know what you think about this. Is this true? Is this not true? What do you think in your own opinion? And some people are saying relationships fail because of a lack of communication, right? Because people are expecting other ones to change. Like, you want people to change, somebody to change, but the reality is that people won't change, right? What do you think? Let me know. I want to hear from you. And other people were saying because there's a lack of communication, there's miscommunication, there is all sorts of different responses of why people are saying that relationships fail. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna read to you, and it goes like this. So you get to tell me why you think that in the past your own relationships have failed. I know that many times had to do with unmet expectations, with disagreements, and with not clear agreements. That's another big reason. What do you think? So let me know, because I would love to see that. And I have here, somebody said, because people don't really know how to accept each other just the way they are. People expect that they will change to meet their own expectations. And as a coach, I'll tell you that I've worked with, I don't know, so many people now that I've lost track. But mainly when I work with couples, when I work with people that want to be in relationship, that love each other, but they do not seem to get in agreement, well, what I find is that there's a lot of things, there's different elements that are not working, right? So I'm going to simply share with you what is it that some of the key pointers are, and I'm going to be sharing with you during the space of 4 weeks about this topic. There's not necessarily like a top one reason. There's different elements, right? However, there's some that are so critical, and today I'm going to share with you one. I'm going to be about to unveil what that is, and I'm going to read what people said about this, okay? So relationships fail because of pride. Pride. Does that sound like you would agree? What do you think? Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. Let me know if you are in a relationship that is working or not for you. We have Dave that has been in a relationship and he wants to take it to the next level. So let me know, what is it for you? I love to see. Okay. Other people say, no relationship fails. All relationships last for a period of time, and we are meant to learn something from each. Every person that appears in our lives helps us work through certain blocks of energetic karmas, if you will. Our egos make that into a problem. So what do you think? Do you think it's true that somebody walks into your life, and when you walk out of their lives, or they walk out of your life, what do you think? Do you think that that was meant to be over? Let me know, because I am wanting to see your comments, but I don't see them. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to log on right here on my iPad and see what's happening, because I'm streaming directly to YouTube and Facebook Live, and technology is right now not allowing me to see your comments. But let me know. I still want to post. I will answer to you. Okay, let's see other reasons why people say that relationships fail. And it says, not the right match, or lack of communication, or communication differences. What do you think? Communication differences? What are the styles of communication? What do you think? And now here's another thing, right? Men and women communicate in an entirely different way. I had one of my clients saying that he was saying, when I worked with them for a whole weekend and they were in awe of everything that they could change. We worked with them for 2 days and everything that was possible for them to change. So what happened is he said, you know what? Understanding how the other works is like having the playbook for the opposite partner, right? Like, she was speaking Russian, I'm speaking Spanish, and there's no way that I can understand her and what's happening. So now getting the playbook. So absolutely, communication differences and not understanding what that looks like is what goes on, right? So there's somebody else who said, communication styles, unhealed trauma. Unhealed trauma. Let's talk about that for a second. What do you think about unhealed trauma? Have you ever been in a relationship where you have faced somebody that has unhealed trauma? I remember being in one, and you know what I saw is that the person that I was with was not necessarily emotionally available. Have you ever been with somebody that is not emotionally available? What do you think? Sorry, that's me. So what do you think are some of the things that you have learned from somebody that is not emotionally available? And there's a lot of trauma that many times it goes on really unnoticed, or it goes unresolved, and it shows up while you're together, while you're discussing something. It comes up many times in sex, right? And you don't understand why your partner is reacting one way or another, but there's so many underlying issues that we have not resolved. And if we don't resolve them, guess what? Is going to really go very, very sour. Okay. I'm also going to be here streaming from Instagram. So if you're in Instagram, we are going live here, and I'm going to do this just for a second. So thank you for the patience. I am doing this Facebook Live, Instagram Live. Okay. So yes. And here we go. Yes, we go. So welcome. You just got here to why is it that relationships fail? And I'm reading here from a poll that I took and what people said, and we're talking about lack of self-awareness. When there is a lack of self-awareness, meaning I think that everything is about you. Everything has to do with you. You're the one responsible for all my perils. You're the one responsible for how much I'm suffering and how much I'm going through, because you're not doing your part. And you know what? When you're blaming other people for your relationship and you're not taking responsibility, which is very different than blame, right? Responsibility is when you say, it needs to happen. And if it's to be, it's up to me. It's not who's doing the wrong, who's right, and is it fighting, but it's saying there's something missing here and there's something that's going south. What I'm going to do is I am going to do something about it. Okay, so now I'm watching your comments here. Thank you. I see G that says relationships fail because of rigid attachments to limiting beliefs. The quality of your capacity to change limiting belief is key. Absolutely. Relationships suffer because when we are so attached to the what's right, and I'm going to give you some tools today about that is going to change something amazingly in your relationship. So thank you for sharing that. But this is so key because when you're saying, no, this is the way to go and this is what it is, and or to a limiting belief, or you know what, an experience that you had in the past, and we get this in a box, like this is the way that it needs to look like, and this is what it needs to happen like that. And if it doesn't change, then else, right? So that rigidity, that being so like square, like there's nothing in nature that is really rigid, right? There's a flow. Nature is all about organic flows and organic shapes. There's nothing in nature that is squared. Have you ever thought about that? It's interesting. So that's when you're talking about the rigidity about it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Raphael says, people that have rules more important and above the relationship. So we come about to what are the rules of that we're going to run by, right? What are the expectations that we're running by? What are the rigidity? What are my self-limiting beliefs? What is the trauma? Imagine two people coming together with all of this that is unspoken, and you have not cleared any of this, and you are simply trying to match, and you're trying to find like where to match, but we have not really worked into areas that can totally be allowing for us to create the one thing that everybody goes into a relationship for. And I'm going to ask you, why do you think that people go into a relationship? Why do you think is the number one reason? Now, I'm talking about mature people. I'm talking about mature adults that really want to build something, an amazingly fulfilling relationship. Why do you think that is? Okay, I'm not talking about the girl that you can pick up in the street and have fun with, or the guy that you can just go out for a drink and do something different. No, I'm talking about when you want to establish something that is solid, something that is like what you want. Why do you think that people go into a relationship? Well, I'm going to tell you in a second, and that is oneness. Oneness. The mere fact that you can be with somebody and it doesn't matter where you are. For that matter, you can be on a deserted island and it's amazing the experience of being with that person. That is oneness. So oneness is when you don't want to take anything out. It's just like perfect. And that person brings out the best of you and you for them. And it's not like they make you happy, because nobody really can make you happy. Do you think that somebody can make you happy? Like your partner can make you happy? It is your responsibility to make yourself happy. But when you come into that oneness and you create that, that is what we're talking about, is the fact that is the synergy of those two pieces, that their own parts are so different. But when you bring them together, boom, there's a geometric growth in all the areas, right? That synergy, the sum of both parts, it just explodes. And what happens when you get to know somebody that you're like, oh my gosh, I like the world I like my world with you in it, because it creates something amazing. That's what I want. I don't want to be so united with you. I want to create that space that is the oneness that we're talking about. So that is why we go into relationships. But let's go back to why is it that relationships fail? And I'm reading here from what other people say as well. We're talking about unhealed trauma. And yeah, that's a big one. That can break a relationship, even a solid relationship. If it goes really untreated, it can break. And I'm saying it can, because if it goes untreated, right? So as we were talking here. Now, Lainey said, because of selfishness and the hardness of people's hearts, because of selfishness. Like, I want to be protected. I want to be safe. I want to feel safe. I want you to make me feel safe. I want you to make me feel enough. I want you to make me, right? So all of these things that we keep saying, that is being totally, that is focused on the self, right? Like, I need you to come and do something for me. It's like a sunflower, right? I was in Italy last year, And they have these amazing fields in Tuscany, amazing fields of sunflowers, just as far as your eye can see. And it's a beautiful scenery. And when you see a sunflower, what happens? That sunflower is like following the sun, right? Following the sun, and it's all sparky and perky and excited because the sun's around. But what happens when the sun goes down? Well, that sunflower goes the same thing, because that sunflower is depending on the sun for its vibrancy, for its joviality. And that's what happened for many people. It's like they're like sunflowers. They expect you to provide that energy that they need. They expect you for them to be the ones that are excited because of you. And if you don't provide, then they're not happy. And if you're not doing X or Y or Z, then they are not happy. So what do you think? Do you think this is true? I think so. And I've seen it. And I see it with people when I work with them. And it's amazing to see how much of people's relationships go south because they simply don't know how to handle that. They don't know how to maneuver through the challenges. And you know what happens is we think that because we're in relationship and we come into relationship, everything's going to work out. And if we say that it didn't work out, it's because it wasn't the right person. Many times it has to do with what Lainey was saying, and because there is not an awareness, there's not a self-awareness of where am I in my world right now? Where am I in my situation? Where am I in my level of growth? Where am I in my own development? And if I cannot, what is it that I'm not bringing to the table? What am I bringing to the table that is creating a little bit of stress in the relationship? And that's something that you get to ask for yourself is like, how am I showing up? Who am I being that is creating a certain level of angst or a certain level of intensity that we really don't want? Okay, so you get to ask that. So somebody said here, Deb said, communication and trying to change someone. You need to accept someone just as they are. And it's not always pretty, she says. It's not always pretty. Because we all come with our sack of stuff, right? I was talking to somebody yesterday and she was feeling pretty lousy about her relationship and how things were going about and feeling extremely guilty about that. And she said, you know what? I brought this upon myself. I need to carry this. I carry this cross because I brought it upon myself and nobody's going to help me. And plus you take that plus all the years of unresolved issues of that other person, of yourself, and you put that in a blender and you blend that and you serve that. That's what many people are having for relationships today. And then we wonder, like, why is it not working? No, it has to do with the level of self-awareness and what is it that we're doing? What is it that I'm showing up and what am I doing to bring to the relationship or the lack of it, right? Am I being jealous? Am I being insecure? Do I feel unseen? Do I feel unappreciated? Do I feel like my needs are not met here, right? And then we have here Pame, my dear Pame, thank you. It says, one of the reasons why relationships fail is when there is no empathy. Also, as G mentioned, limiting beliefs may affect a relationship, right? When there is no empathy. And what is empathy? It's like I put myself in your shoes. I look at things from your own angle, from a different angle of where I'm looking at. There's not only my view, there's a different perspective. Okay, there's a different way of seeing things because my world and your world is very different. But how is it that I can feel what you're feeling? I can think from where you're standing. I can go to the side of you instead of having this you versus me, and go to that side of you and say, okay, let me look at this from your own angle, from your own perspective, from your upbringing. And we don't do that. So empathy is totally, yes, it is true. Thank you, Pam, for saying that, because that's something that we need. That's something that we need. Okay. Somebody else said, it's not being whole yourself and not good communication. Communication keeps coming back up. Communication is one of the main reasons why relationships fail. Not being whole yourself, like not being authentic. Have you ever felt, let me take a poll here. Have you ever felt like you could not be yourself with that person? That you needed to walk on eggshells, that you needed to walk like on glass, because otherwise hell was just going to break unleashed if you did X, Y, or Z, right? Yeah, so that is a very difficult situation to be, because you need to be like minding and watching what you do because you cannot be authentic. And when you lose your authenticity, A lot of things also go south because when you are not your authentic, real you, then what's left is you faking, is you being in somebody else's shoes that is not your own. And you're not going to show up in that way that somebody's going to love, because at the beginning is what people like about you is how you were showing up, how you were being, how you were talking, how are you relating to other people, what is it that you were doing for them. And then when they start criticizing and judging and trying to fit you into a box, that's when things also go south, right? So yes, there's you can be right or you can be happy. We're going to be talking about that in a second. And somebody, Tanya, said, okay, relationships fail because of commitment or the lack of, right? Commitment. And that's so true. When you're committed to something, is not only saying, well, I'm going to be here no matter what it is, and I'm just going to close my eyes, and I'm just going to take everything, and I'm just going to be miserable because I committed to be here. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about you committing to being miserable. It's talking about you being committed to making it work. You being committed, as we were saying earlier, to see what's happening, to being a leader and saying, man, what's happening here? And let's put it in. Being responsible, not somebody to blame, because blame and guilt brings punishment with itself, right? So, this is what we are talking about. What is it when you are not committed? And it's not committed to one person. It's like committed to making it work. You know, I worked with a couple a few weeks ago, and they flew me over to Philadelphia to work with them. And I was saying, okay, do you guys love each other? And they had confessed to me independently in a different phone call and privately that they loved each other, that they really wanted to be with each other, but they couldn't because they were going to kill each other, right? And they said, we're just waiting for these 2 days to see if what is going to happen, whether I stay in or whether I check out. And when I came in, I said, no, you guys say that you love each other, and there's just big elephants in between you. And what we're going to do is we're going to clean the house. We are going to change that. Okay. So I said, no, we're not living here. I'm not here to see what's going to happen. I'm here to make it happen. So if you're going to make it happen, say with me, it's like, if it's to be, it's up to me. You get to make it happen. You get to be the one responsible, saying, you know what? I need to lower my ego. I need to love my partner. I need to let go of all the resentment that I have. I need to step up and be the leader. I need to open up my heart to be vulnerable. And it might hurt. Yes, relationships might hurt, right? But I'm going to do that. So we're looking here at comments. And Pamela, it says, it's better to be happy than being right. I'm going to come back to that in a second because, I have something very juicy that you just mentioned. So, Lily, welcome. I miss you too, girl. So happy to see you here. Okay. And it says trust is trust. Trust is also an issue. I had a podcast where I was talking about one of the pillars of the success of relationships is the trust, right? So yes, absolutely. If there's no trust, is one of the 4 pillars. If you don't have one of them, your relationship is doomed to go south if you don't do something about it. So trust, definitely. And when the trust gets lost with lies and disrespect, respect is another one of the pillars of having a strong relationship, right? So yes, you're absolutely right, my dear Lily. I'm going to keep reading here. When somebody says communication issues, lack of communication, empathy, and respect. So we're saying that there's a pattern here, right? With communication, with respect. Somebody said control. Control is a huge one, especially for men. And here's a big one that if you're a lady, I'm going to say this to you, we don't realize how much we try to control men. Even though we don't realize it, we're wanting to get that. Why? Because the number one need that a woman has is to feel safe, right? We need to feel safe. Women are prey. I coach survivors of human trafficking, and I know what is the fear of not knowing that you're going to be well in different levels, right? Not only physically, but emotionally, and all the levels of you want to feel safe. So what happens is that when we feel that we might be unsafe, that our well-being, our future, our man, our relationship might be jeopardizing or in danger, we want to control it because that will let us know that we're okay. If we can control, that gives us a sense of security. But you know what? When we're not really in agreement with with who we're talking to, then what happens is that we start really losing it because we want to grab into that and we want to control that person, their movements, what they're doing, so that it won't hurt us. And if you want to have an amazing, fulfilling relationship, you want to talk about that control, we're going to be talking about it in other episodes here. Somebody said, Ray said, relationship is a journey. It needs to be through a few levels. It's like a computer. It starts easy, it gets harder, and then he says it needs to have sexual attraction. Absolutely. If there's no chemistry, if there's no polarity, you have a great roommate or a great friend in the best of cases, but there's not going to be a relationship that is going to last, right? Sex is the kind of the glue that really brings that relationship to different levels. You can accomplish a lot of things when there's great sex in a relationship. You can do that. When there's bad sex, you want to get out of the door, right? You start caring about the person. It's like you want to love them, but there's that part, and it's so intricate because sex is like a spiritual experience. It's so much, and we can talk here forever. And you can tell me what's your opinion? What's your opinion? Do you think that needs to be sexual attraction for you to be in a relationship, in that relationship of your dreams? What do you think? Let's see. What are your comments? Okay. And trusting and respect. Yes, those are the pillars that we said that we're talking about. Codependency. Well, I would call it interdependency, right? Like codependency means like, if you're not there, I cannot function. Interdependency is you and I create that synergy that we were talking about, right? This is where relationships fall apart, he said. Men create codependency in war, or interdependency is really what he means. Army, when they trust each other with their life. Yes, this guy that I told you that I was talking with in this couples makeover that I did, he is a Marine. So he knows that his clan, his tribe, that he would go to war and pour out everything and leave everything on the line for them. But you know what? He felt appreciated. And then when you come home as a man and you don't feel the appreciation, when you feel the nagging, tell me, you let me know if you're a man, and do you like to be nagged? Do you like to be hearing all the bickering, right? And what men translate into criticism. A woman wants to fix problems, and that's a way of saying this is wrong. And men many times translate it as, you know what? You're always constantly wanting to control me, and you're constantly criticizing me and judging me, and I'm tired of this, right? There's not a lack of appreciation. So we're going to be talking in a few weeks about a lot more about that, but we're talking of why is it that relationships fails? Why have your other relationships fails? Okay, so Raphael says, oh God, no, we don't want the nagging, we don't want the bickering, we don't want the witching, right? Like, you're always doing this, you never do this, you always do it like this, and oh my gosh. So nobody wants to be in a relationship like that, right? I remember I did a Zoom call. I had a training that I was doing, and there was this one girl that she said, you know what? Talk to me, because otherwise I'm gonna get a divorce. So I said, okay, come to this training. And I was doing the training, and then I had worked with her a little bit, that her husband, they were already separated. Next thing I know, her husband showed up into the training. I was like, oh my gosh, we're making progress here. And then as soon as I started talking, and then I said, you know what? Your marriage can be transformed. Your marriage can be restored. Suddenly I see him in my Zoom window, and he gets up and he heads towards the door and he leaves. And then I said, okay, I need to talk to this girl. So I talked to her the next day, and I said, okay, tell me what's going on. Tell me about your relationship and how's your marriage life. And I started just